Hello and welcome to the Scottish Times podcast. I'm joined today by Susanna Merchant.
Hello.
How's it going?
All right.
Good times. So you've been to the Edinburgh Film Festival?
So have you?
I have, but not in the same capacity, unfortunately. let's not go there. But you were doing some reviewing and whatnot.
Yes, I have. Yeah.
So can you tell us what your favourite film was?
I think it would have to be a tie between Borrowed Time by Jules Bishop and God Bless America by Bobcat Goldthwait.
Yeah, we were talking about God Bless America, and you just wouldn't accept the fact that I didn't like the film.
Oh, I totally accept the fact that you didn't like the 3 minutes that you saw.
Hey, I saw more than 3 minutes. And my argument is, if you don't make the beginning intriguing or good, I'm not going to keep watching the rest of the film.
Well,
I mean, if I was trying to sell that film to someone, they're not going to skip to the end and go, well, he's got a damn good ending here.
But you see, the thing is, I like the beginning. So there is no accounting for taste.
Yeah, that's
it's
fair
a
enough.
Totally different. So I liked it. I really did. It was one of my favourites. I was really, really excited about the interview we did with Lindsay. We managed to get Bobcat for 20 minutes, which is really not enough time to do a proper interview. I don't like asking, ridiculous, boring questions like, so, how was working with whatever? How do you like, promoting your film in Scotland or whatever? I just like
Well,
asking.
you can ask the boring questions, get the ball rolling, then get into the real meat of the interview.
Exactly, so that's how it works. But for that, you need more time. 20 minutes is really not enough because we were there with Bobcat and we were also there with Joel Murray, who was playing Frank in the film, and also with Sarah De Sarego, who is costume designer for the film. So it was 3 people to interview in a span of 20 minutes. It's not enough. So I was very disappointed about that, but we still managed to get 20 minutes worth of stuff. They were all really, really funny.
I mean, I didn't meet them, but I met the guys from Borrowed Time. It's very, very surprising, very nice when you meet people you actually like, and you're like, hey.
You know you met them. I was there when you met them, right?
Yeah, I know. But the listeners don't know that.
Yes. They were also nice. So far, most people, a majority of people that I've interviewed were really pleasant. Maybe it has to do with the fact that most of them were just at the beginning of their career.
Yeah.
Bobcat being the exception.
A lot of the big time guys, they weren't even replying.
I think I found it hard interviewing Bobcat because I think him and Joel and his wife, they're all used to kind of being a bit on guard and being interviewed, I think.
Yeah,
a little bit, kind of, because they're used to being interviewed by the American media, who are, I think, a bit more intrusive when it comes to personal life and stuff like that. So I think that was, I prefer to have the feeling of a informal chat rather than an actual formal interview when I'm interviewing people, which is weird, but there you go.
Journalists don't exactly get a very good reputation, kind of like lawyers, everybody thinks we're out just to make you look bad.
Exactly.
That's not how I roll. I'm just here to get a good bit of banter.
Exactly, and I think also the difference is, I don't know, I mean, I haven't met that many journalists, but I personally am so in love with cinema and film, and I'm so interested in it, that, I want to talk about that. I'm not, one of those journalists who's really desperate to get some dirt on the person, I'm not interested in their personal life unless it has something to do with their creative process. I really just want to talk about the films because they fascinate me. So yeah, most of the interviewees were really, really pleasant. One interview that I did was kind of awkward. They were with some better known people, and it was a bit uncomfortable.
Yeah, you're kind of like, guys, come on,
give me something.
Yeah, work with me here.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so do you feel that covers what your least favorite part of the festival was, or do you want to just tell me what your least favorite film was?
Oh, I can't say least favorite.
Well,
I mean, because I was rather rather lucky because the films that I did see were all decent films. So either 100 or 200 something films were really good, or I was just really, really lucky. I just basically took the list of the press screenings and I just said, okay, so if I go to town that day, then I can see this film, this film, this film, and this film, and I basically just circled one after another, and that's how I rolled.
All right.
And I was very lucky. all of them were good, but they, like, some of them, like Killer Joe, it looks pretty from a distance, Polish film. They were both very, very depressing. So I'm not saying they were bad, I'm just saying they were very depressing. There is a difference. But
well, what was the film that disappointed you the most?
I don't think I go to the cinema expecting stuff. I don't think, like, I mean, oh, this should be good. Or I do have certain preconceptions, which, I mean, it's hard to avoid those. Like, when I was going to watch Borrowed Time, and I read, you know, they give you like 2-sentence description, and it said something basically that, you know, a young burglar develops a friendship with the grumpy recluse or something like that. And I thought, well, you know, this has been done before a few times, quite a few times, so it would be hard to pull off. But that's all I thought. I didn't really think, oh, it's going to be boring or anything like that. I just thought, well, you know, they've got a tough job in front of them. And I really did like that film. I really did. Day of the Flowers, though. Day of the Flowers, I kind of expected, I think, maybe, I don't know if I expected more. I have no idea. That was the film that slightly disappointed me. I'm not saying it was bad. I just think it could have done with a bit more work. There were some jumps in the script.
So it was plot holes that ruined the fantasy for you?
There were, yeah, bits of plot holes, and also there were 3 love interests for the main character, which I thought was a bit too many, because the film is supposed to be concentrating on something else rather than romance. And I can understand if it's like a rom-com and there is, you know, that kind of stuff, but it was supposed to be, you know, a film about girls who are 2 sisters who are basically, their relationship is not very good, and they take their father's ashes to Cuba because they believe that's where he would want to rest. One of the girls is this lefty, you know, believing in Marxism and coming, really kind of, believing that Cuba is the land of the future and the kind of land of the free. And the other one is this proper consumer with this whole wardrobe that she gets from those, you know, fancy shops and stuff. So basically it's about how their relationship kind of, you know, changes, and also how one of the sisters discovers that Cuba is not what she always thought it is.
Right.
And so basically this story, there is the story, and then there's the 3 love interests for the main character, which I thought was a bit too many.
Is the main character is a guy or a woman?
No, for one of the sisters. There were 3
right.
love.
So it was 3 dudes.
Love interests.
Yeah,
yes.
but that's realistic. I mean, you know, 3 dudes trying to get on with some. Is she Spanish or?
Well, no. Two of the guys were like proper love interests, and one of them was really not. But you could tell that, you know, they cast this incredibly good-looking guy who was trying to chat her up. So you'd think, okay, he might become a love interest. She's not really interested, but he might if she changed her mind, right? So it was really, basically it was 3 guys, and I suppose all those characters had a certain role to play in the film. They weren't just there to be, you know, beefcakes or whatever you call them, right? But it was...
Check out that hot piece of man candy over there. Yeah, baby.
I liked the film in general, but I didn't think it was good enough to be at the Best of Fest. It was screened at the Best of Fest. I think maybe it's because when they did show it at the cinemas, it sold out. There were a few screenings, and they all sold out. And I wondered why that was. And I found out, actually, why I interviewed the filmmakers, that I think Glasgow is a twin town with some city in Cuba.
I have no idea.
It's like, it's twinned with a city in Cuba. I can't remember which one.
It's like exchange thing. You know, when you're at school and you have that exchange program, you're like, oh, this is fun, I'm going to Germany, yeah?
Oh, God.
And then some, like, German kid comes over and then he's all like, oh, was ist das? And nobody knows what's going on. You didn't do that thing?
That was deep, that. No,
You've never done an exchange program?
No.
Oh, you should.
I went abroad as an au pair. I thought that was
It's not
probably
really the same thing.
More useful, though. More chances of you actually learning the language.
Life experience is what it's all about. Au pairing is an exchange programming thing.
It is life experience. I'll tell you that.
You were looking after the kids, though, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's nannying. It's not really the same thing as going across just to drink in the education of a foreign land.
That's not what you do. You go to school. You go to school to learn the language.
Well, we're getting off topic here.
Yes,
this is about films.
Exactly. So, yes. why people went to see that film, I don't know. Either because, you know, Cuba's brilliant and interesting and people rarely go there. And maybe it also had something to do with the fact that it was two Scottish girls and the film was being shown in Scotland.
Were they attractive?
They were alright, yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to be honest, I cannot take your word on that. That whole, yeah, they're okay, that always means no in guy language.
Does
always,
it?
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. No,
it's like going, oh yeah, she's got a lovely personality. That wasn't the question.
Okay, yes, all right. I understand. Yeah, the language of male and the language of female is different. Okay, to me, they were lovely girls. They were normal. They were pretty normal girls. They weren't. It's not like they hired, you know, some bombshell just because of her looks. They hired good actresses who happened to be pretty. Just not, you know...
Well, maybe that's why people like the film. You got hot women good at acting and hot guys that are good at acting.
Maybe. But the fact is, you know, they didn't try to doll them up too much because they were supposed to be normal girls. I mean, one of them was wearing a lot of makeup because she was the consumer chick and, you know, she was very conscious of her appearance. But, and so I thought that, but then... I don't know, Scottish girls, you know, a film, you don't really get that many films about Scottish people. You sometimes have Scottish characters who are there to add some humour, you know, because, they've got the ridiculous accent, you know. But you don't really have that many films about actually where main characters are Scottish. So I have no idea how their accents are because the girls aren't Scottish. They're
just pretending.
They put on
well, they are actresses.
Glasgow accent.
Well, what was the biggest surprise for you at the festival? What did you think? Oh, this is going to be terrible, but then bam, turned it around and you loved it.
I never think things like that. This is going to be terrible.
So,
no, I do. So, okay, sometimes I do, but not at festivals because at festivals I expect a certain, you know, level. Yeah, like I'm expecting that. You know, the films are pre-watched by people who accept the films at the festival. So I'm assuming they chose something decent. However, when you go to the cinema, there is no such thing.
Well, yeah, but the director...
So sometimes I expect things to be rubbish, and I know they will be. I still go and watch them, but...
Yeah, but the director got an eclectic range this year, so there was a whole bunch of stuff that was just a heinous abomination to film.
Was there?
Oh, yeah. I'm not going to name names.
You're not?
but I heard a lot of bad things about some of the short films.
Oh, well, first of all, if you haven't seen them, you can't, you know,
there was nothing to see. That was literally what I was told. It was just some woman took 13 minutes of film, scratched it, and then showed it to people.
Oh, that's experimental shorts. There's a difference.
There was no experimenting going on there. What did you think was going to happen? Oh, all of a sudden a film worked its way onto my film.
There's a different... I did last year during the festival. I did go to see some experimental films. I thought, you know, half an hour of my life, you know, I can... Oh man, that was a mistake. I really wanted to leave, but I couldn't because one of the directors was sitting right next to me, and I just thought that would be rude. That would really
I don't care about these things.
But it wasn't just one film. It was many experimental shorts, like in one go. So an hour, it was like 50 minutes or something. And I left there, and I thought, never again. I'm never again. I suppose, you know, it's some people might find this, you know, deep or whatever. It's like modern art. It's not for everyone, and I just don't want to see experimental films ever again. No, I just saw normal shorts, and I quite liked the ones that I saw this year. So I don't really know much about what they showed in the experimental cinema this year, apart from the scratching thing. I did hear that. I don't know.
Yeah, it was pretty awful from what I heard.
Oh yeah, no, I saw a couple of good shorts actually. I was quite happy with. One was, I think, called Queen, and the other one was Pen Pals. They were quite good at, you know, conveying the story.
So did you have any adventures or
adventures at the festival?
You know, like you were out just innocently minding your own business, all of a sudden there was a calamity, or you had to do something, or you watched one film and then for the rest of the day you just got up to no good.
No, I was going to interview John Wright, who did Grabbers. I was going to interview him, and there was a landslide and my train was cancelled and I never managed to get there on time, which was made me so angry and disappointed. Seriously, I did manage to interview him in the end over the phone. He was really lovely. I mean, he gave me half an hour of his time over the phone. But you know, I prefer to meet people face to face.
Yeah, it's hard to get the banter when you're on the phone.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's all we have time for this week.
Do
But
we?
we'll be back again next week for some regular film reviews and perhaps maybe a little bit of random news. Also, I wanted to check out and see a little bit of cage fighting action. We'll have a review.
So the interesting stuff happening around Edinburgh then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to a cage fight?
I would love to. I'm not being sarcastic. I really am not.
So stay tuned next week. Scottish Times cage fight.
See what
Ding
happens.
dong.